Alright, what is going on, guys? So, it's actually been a full fucking week since Dark Side of the Moon came out, and assumed that I would just make a behind the scenes right away, which I didn't do. So yeah, I guess that's what this is. Because this morning I edited the trip report video, and I was like, you know what? Instead of watching another movie, I'll probably edit this first, and then yeah. But to begin with this, actually, I am fucking missing something. Okay, wait, let me. Alright, right here. So I'm actually gonna roll on this, so I can't use it for a second, but basically what this is it's my notepad, and it's how this whole shebang started. So a couple trips back, the reason why I tripped was, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write a tripping movie. And I didn't want to like write it, I just wanted to, while tripping, think of concepts to, like editing concepts, to put into the thing. And then, you know how trips go, it ended up just being like, and then 12 hours, and then the trip was over, and then I was like, oh. But how that trip ended was, I watched Steve Aoki's Netflix like documentary thing called I'll Sleep When I'm Dead, and holy shit, that was so good. And since I was on acid, it felt like I was watching it forever, and it was only an hour 20, but most of that actually I think was shot on the A7S, and just from looking at it, and like logistics wise, like they probably wouldn't have very large cameras with them the way they were filming, so I'm pretty sure they used A7Ss. And after watching that, made me pull the trigger on this camera, because it's been my dream camera forever. I've always known it's going to be this one. But after watching that, so that's how big of a deal watching that movie was. It wasn't just like watching a movie, I guess. But I saw that, and like, that was just so good. And that, I think that made me really want to make like documentaries and stuff. And well, I mean, that was a big reason for making the tripping movie anyways, was to get practice at editing. Because actually, when I was 14, I kept trying to make this fucking movie, and I was so bad at it that just all year long, I was like, okay, wait, where the fuck did my grinder go? Like, how does that just... So anyways, yeah, but so, you know, it's not like I just made it for like one reason. There's so many reasons behind every single decision ever. Yeah, I couldn't find it, so yeah. But yeah, that was a big thing. And so during that trip, actually what ended up happening was I couldn't write anything. I only took like 2 notes, and it was just a bunch of fucking notepads that said human on them. Because I remember one time while tripping, I was talking with my brother, and we're like, why do we love BoJack so much? And I was like, well, it's the most human show, because like, that's what BoJack fans say all the time. And I was like, yeah, I've heard that like 1,000 times. But then I was like, it's the most human show. And then that's when we realized during my birthday trip, like, I was like, oh, that's why I love this so much. I've been watching that since I was like 14 years old. And I feel like, I mean, like, most of my life decisions and stuff, I mean, it's like, BoJack played a big part and stuff, because ever since being 14, it's like, that was like my whole outlook on life and stuff. So yeah, and that trip was when I was like, okay, I want to be like superhuman. Like, if I could only use one word to describe Stone Alone, I want it to be human from here on out. And that was during that trip, and I was like, I was just so happy during that one. And like, but yeah, that Steve Aoki movie, I was like, I gotta do it. Like, I gotta do it right away. And I knew if I didn't start right away, if I didn't do it right away, then it would never get done, ever. Like my movie that I tried to do when I was 14. So then in the video, I was like, alright guys, I'm gonna do this in a week. Which is like, it sounds really fucking impossible, like an entire music video for an entire album, in just a week. And I don't know, I knew I could do it in a week, but still, I mean, that's still a fuck ton. And I've never posted a video longer than 16 minutes long. Or I've never, like, I've made long-ass videos, but they weren't, like, so full of editing, like, Dark Side was. So I knew I just had to get started on that, and I guess that's, like, the basic general introduction, if you will. What should I say from here? I guess, but I chose Dark Side of the Moon because it's like, at first I didn't want to do it. I was like, oh, no, that's too good of an album. I don't want to mess it up. But that's the thing, it's like, there's never a right time. I knew there would never be a better time than now, because there would just never be a better time, like, ever. So I just chose Dark Side of the Moon because I knew it so well, and it's like the most human album ever. It's like 45 fucking years old, and it's still the exact same stuff. It's like nothing's changed, and that's pretty incredible that, like, looking back and listening to the album, and it makes so much sense when they still had to fucking use these on vinyl players. Like, that's crazy. It's like, it's pretty insane. But, yeah, and I know the album so well in and out, like, every single song and transition and, like, everything. I mean, not that well. It's not like I can, like, recite it or anything. It's just, like, I've heard it a lot, you know? So I know the feel of it. And that's the most important thing. It's always the feel. Because I watched it on acid, and, like, you can't remember past a few seconds, really. Or at least for me on acid, it's like, it's only the current moment, but it's all about the general vibe more than, like, specific things. So, yeah, and another thing is, the first time in my life that I ever went outside while high, I walked my dog, and I think I hit the one-hitter a few times, and then I went outside and stuck in my noise-canceling headphones, and I fucking put on Pink Floyd, and I was the kind of kid that would say, like, I liked Pink Floyd, but I didn't know fucking any of the albums or songs or anything, and, like, my girlfriend at the time really liked Pink Floyd, and, like, yeah, so, I put them on because I knew that they were good music to listen to while high as fuck, and that was crazy. I mean, just, like, imagine the first time ever while outside high, and I was so scared and paranoid, but, when Money came on, I actually visualized what the Money segment was. So when the Money was going back and forth, like, do, I literally saw that the first time I listened to Money while high, which is pretty intense. Or, I don't think that was my first time, but, like, just during that time. And that's the thing, it's like, every time I listen to music, it's like that. I imagine a video, like, how I would cut to the song. But with Pink Floyd, it's like, it was like fucking amazing movies. Like, they were better than any other fucking thing. Like, any other songs or anything, they wouldn't invoke that kind of emotion. So Pink Floyd, I knew that I had to do something with. Especially since I couldn't fit all that Dark Side of the Moon stuff in, like, just a 10-minute video. Because it's so fucking much that you have to spread it over, like, 40 minutes. So, I knew that there's no better time than now to get it, and also I knew that I would get this, and, like, right as I finished, I would have the money for the A7S, because, you know, that's the thing, it's like, if I just had this camera the whole time, I probably wouldn't even be this good. It's like, I learned within limitations, and, like, I made sure to do that entire thing, and another good thing about Dark Side of the Moon is it kind of proves that, like, I actually do care, because that's a lot of fucking work to do it, that entire thing, and, so yeah, I do actually care. But, wait, this blunt is going terribly. Bunch of holes and shit. Alright, this blunt is in heavy need of a fucking repair job. This guy is, like, hanging on by a fucking thread. We need to, like, get him fixed up right away. Let's see. Oh shit! Ooh, I think I'm a little successful. Alright, so let me get this weed off of here. Oh, shit. You know what, I'm just gonna stick this weed on the table here, or the counter. Still have not found that grinder. Right. This fucking room is so small. Alright. So this is the official notes. I knew that in the end it cuts back on so much time, and that's what it's all about, is about getting out of your own way and like setting things up so it works. And so now on big projects like this and like trip reports and stuff, I try to write down a few notes at least. So on here I've written down that the first half of the Dark Side of the Moon album, I guess I'll talk about just through these notes and then think of what else I might want to put in the behind the scenes. But the first half of the album is a cautionary tale. So like basically like don't do this. You know, and it talks about stuff like in time, like just wasting your time on inane bullshit and stuff like that. It's like so it's a cautionary tale on what not to do. And then this is all notes on the album itself before I even started doing any editing, because I just kind of wanted to understand it a little bit, so that when I'm editing I don't have to like look through this. It's like you know, I get it. And then the second half is concepts that lead to madness. So on this list, that was kind of like a half commitment smoke trick. On the list of concepts that lead to madness, so the titles of the songs on the second half of the album are Money, Us and Them, Any Color You Like, Brain Damage, and Eclipse. So these all lead to madness. Money is very self-explanatory. Us and Them is if you have black and white mentalities all the time and don't understand that the truth is more, there's so much more to the truth than just, you know, he did this and they did this, and, you know, there's so much in between. Any Color You Like, which is the lack of choices in today's society. I don't want to get depressing, but, you know, that's like kind of, and then Brain Damage is, I'll get, I mean, I think it's just, see, and here's the thing, it's like, I'm not taking any of this too seriously. And that's the whole thing, you know, it's all for fun. The second that it would become unfun, like, I would make it more fun. So it's not like I'm taking this all super duper seriously. It's just like, it's a lot more fun because I had something to go along to. And for the first time ever, I made like a concept thing. It's not really like a film because I just kind of edited footage over it, but it's like, it's what like a concept album would be, but in like video term. And like, you know, this is all totally new territory. This kind of technology didn't used to exist, so I bet there's a lot of fucking people like me just sitting stoned in their couches like thinking up this stuff, but the technology wasn't there to make it. And now that it is, it's like, I'm so fucking grateful that it is, and that's another reason why I made it. I have this big ass PC that I built with my bare hands with parts that I knew I would, like, that would be the best for the way I edit, and that feels so good because every little thing's customized. I saved a lot of money by building it myself, and you know, it's just a waste if I don't make stuff like this. It's like the fact that it's humanly possible to make something like this is, well then I fucking got to, you know, and that's why I like Stone Alone, because you guys appreciate my shit more than anybody else. Anyways, back to this. It says there's two, I wrote down that, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure I just got all this shit off the first thing on Google. Like, I'm pretty sure I didn't look past the first one. But, yeah, I think the first one was really good, because I was like, oh yeah, you know, that is kind of what I felt, but like, I'm not a writer, so I didn't know how to like put it into. But it says that there's two types of insanity in like the Pink Floyd, in like this album's whatever. People are either insane for doing what they're told all the time and accepting life for what it is, or people realize that or people realize that the tide riders are insane and go insane from resistance of the tide. So you're either insane from being like, oh yeah, whatever, you know, like I'm just gonna do what I'm told, or you're insane from knowing how crazy that is, and then like going against the flow, I guess. Like I said, this shit was written like 45 years ago, guys. It's just human nature. And that's like the whole thing. I think something I saw, someone said that Dark Side of the Moon is an album written about every human being on Earth ever. And that is really cool. And I think that's a bit, yeah, that's why I really like it. And I kind of took, and that's why it was so easy to edit too, because it's about every human being on Earth, so it's about me too. And then I just put situations I've been in that correlate with the songs. Oh, fuck yeah, that came out sounding really cool. You know, I'm really glad I did that 5 months of Stone Lump, because I'm finally comfortable with the camera now. Like, finally able to talk like the way I do to the camera. Because before, it was just harder. But finally. So the first couple songs, Speak to Me and Breathe, that's just the intro. Speak to Me was just the heartbeat. It played while I was smoking the joint right there. And the entire album ends with a heartbeat too, meaning the heartbeat represents life, and everything in between the heartbeats is essentially what is in life. That's really fucking cool. So I tried to do the same thing. I had the beginning and the end kind of like, you know, like the same kind of thing. Yeah. And then after the intro, it gets into On the Run. That's like all that crazy ass like noises, and I introduce this shot with my friend where he's like all like, wait, I can get to that later. So when it's doing all that crazy noises and I keep cutting to airports, that's about anxiety and stress. So I didn't take it too literal in this one. I used a lot of airport shots I have because, you know, airports are kind of like this universal fucking like anxiety like squished together in a little room because yeah, I mean, like, that's really cool. And I really liked doing stuff along with Pink Floyd because it's stuff that's stuck through the years for like 50 years, and I wanted to edit to it and kind of learn the philosophies of it and put that into my own videos all the time, because that's just what's I want to make stuff that's just like human, I guess. And that's like, that was the thing. It's like with that trip a couple trips ago, like that was, I just really wanted to make like human stuff, because I finally figured out why I liked BoJack, and I realized that's why I liked anything that I liked. And I thought it'd be really cool if I could start introducing that kind of thing in my videos, and it's really fun. It's really fun doing it because it's like, I don't know. And then time. This is a fucking big one. So time is actually what kicked off the whole thing. Last year, when I rented the Sony a7S, what happened was I met these like marketing people, and they set me up with a gig to shoot for this window company, and they were pretty big, so for the first time in my life, I was approved to like get a rental, and I was like, holy fuck, and I was like, I want the A7S, and that's the camera before this one, the model down, and this happened last year, April 2015, and I was so fucking excited. I even extended it an extra few days. I found out my uncle at the same time was going to New York, and it was like everything was falling into place. It was like this epic moment. And it was almost like, it was like the peak of that era, I guess, like that era of me, like this social entrepreneur me. But that was crazy because I got the camera, and for the first time ever I could shoot in the dark because my other cameras fucking sucks balls at that, as you guys know from the first 5 months of videos. Uh, and I like put out the word on Facebook. I just asked random ass people. I was like, guys, I want to shoot all the coolest stuff with this camera. So in just 1 week, I shot stuff with a CEO who owns a motorsports company and app developing company. He took me out at midnight and drove around in his convertible. I hung out with a guy that owns a t-shirt company locally, shirts from Fargo. I wear his shirts all the time. We went around, actually trespassed and climbed on some roofs. I also saw Niagara Falls for the first time during that New York trip. Huge bucket list thing for me. Saw fucking New York. Huge bucket list thing for me. I went as a kid one time, but my mom was just like buying stuff, and then we went in and out, and she didn't like, and I didn't see any of the stuff. And then what else did I fucking shoot? I don't know, just like this crazy ass stuff. I shot a commercial for an art gallery, a promo for that, window company I was talking about, and I shot a show for a musician, went longboarding with a photographer friend, and I think that's basically it. But for that week, that was like crazy, like I don't know, I feel like I kind of have a taste of what Casey Neistat might feel every day during that week. Like that was so crazy. But as a person, I can't be like that all the time. Like it really tires me out. So like when I got back, I was just like chilling and smoking and stuff. But that was a crazy ass week, and I was gonna cut the whole thing to the song "Time" by Pink Floyd, because right when I found out I could rent that camera, the song fucking came on. It started ringing like literally right after I found out I could buy it. And then I envisioned all of these shots, and actually I got pretty much like all the ones I envisioned, and all the stuff I said earlier, like that was what I was envisioning, and I was like, I need to make this happen. And I did, and that was fucking crazy. But then I never fucking even cut it because I came back, and New York really, it was like seeing New York and how like crazy that was. It's like I don't know, just walking into New York, it's like you get that sense of I can't waste a second doing something that I shouldn't be doing. And when I got back, it was like I wasn't doing as much freelance stuff, which kind of sucked, but that's kind of what sparked Stoned Alone too. So this shit is like, this means a lot to me on a lot of levels. And I remember the first time I heard that song, it was crazy because I heard all the words, and what it's about is this kid who's like, yeah, man, like I have my whole life ahead of me. I'll just like hang out. And his whole life flashes by, and he's like, you know what really sucks? I have no fucking clue when that camera stopped recording. So I said a bunch of really, really, really important stuff just now, and if you're seeing this, that means that you can't see it because I didn't record it. No, it wasn't that important. But the next, I had to change the battery. That's the thing. This fucking camera's battery is shit. But that's the thing. It's like I knew that going in. Anyways, the next song was "Great Gig in the Sky." Now this song is really beautiful. I remember the first time I heard this song, I was in my girlfriend's room, and she had this record player, cause she has this really awesome uncle, like hipster dude, and he just gave her this record player and a fuck ton of records, and this song was playing one time when I was in her room, and I was like, the fuck is this shit? Cause it was just this woman screaming for like 4 minutes, and it just kept playing, and it was like on the record, and I don't know, it's kind of funny how. But that's the thing, it's like I didn't used to always be this chill, like that, it's like, life is seriously better when you're positive, like no joke, but like at that time I remember just being like, God, what the fuck is this? Like this song's annoying as shit, it's like bothering me, but the song is beautiful, it's about death, because it starts out and the guy's like, "Oh no, I'm not afraid of death. Why should I be?" Like, what does he say? He's like, "We all gotta die sooner or later," or something like that. And like, and then the woman screaming is like an example of someone scared of death, and that's an example of someone who's not. So the whole song is about death, and you're either afraid of it or not. Now, you know, I really would like to say I'm not afraid of death, but you know, like, I don't want to die, but I really think I'm less afraid of death than most people, because that's the thing, it's like, if I died right now, I'd be pretty cool with that. I started a whole fucking business, which was my dream from when I was like 8 years old, and then I did my even bigger dream, which was being a YouTuber, and you guys are actually enjoying it, and it's like WeedTube, and that's crazy, and I would be totally cool with it. But, yeah, so some of that footage in there, like I was lit on fire. That was an example of when I accepted death. I think that might be the only time I've accepted death. It's fucking crazy because it's like, you know, I used to be totally like pissing contest kind of guy, so it's like if someone was like, "Have you ever had a near-death experience?" I'd be like, "Yeah, obviously." But now that I think about it, that's the only one that I like, that comes to mind when I think of it, because it was the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, and I remember I was 14 years old and everybody was doing it, and instead of, you know, thinking, "Oh, this is great, this is raising money for ALS," which is what it was doing, I, along with all the other kids, were just thinking, "Well, how do I do it like really cool? Like how do I get people to, you know, think it's cool?" But I don't think most people take it this far. I was like, well, you know, I'll just light myself on fire and then do the ice bucket challenge, and it'll be like the best fucking one. And you know, like, I'm really surprised it didn't get more views. It only got like 200 views. So yeah, but I put on a leather jacket that I got at a thrift store for $30. It was basically like, this was one of its jobs, and I lit myself on fire. But the thing was, I had 3 friends with me who each had a bucket of water, and I told them to like put me out, but they fucking seriously, guys, like, I mean, like, I'm not like mad because we did shit like this all the time, but seriously, that was like really bad. I was on fire, and one of my friends, he tries to dump it over me, but it's like too heavy or something. He gets it all over himself, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm still on fire. One friend is just like holding it, and then I think one friend already dumped it over their head. So I look around, and then it was like, vision went from, oh, I can see, to, oh wait, it's just flames now. And then I just like, I didn't stop, drop, and roll. That's the thing, like I thought that I would be able to remember shit like that, but I was just like, I'm on fucking fire. And then, I think, I just like, I had safety protocols, so I wasn't on fire. I was like, I put Zippo fuel on a pair of pants and then put them over my shoulders, and that was on fire. So like, I grabbed it and I just like threw it off my shoulders, and I remember I tried to breathe in because I was running and I needed to breathe, and went, and it wasn't air that went in, it was fucking flames that went in. And I just remember the heat going into my nose and going and then like throwing the thing off, and then yeah, I went back to the camera and then actually nominated the rest of the people like a baller. I went inside, I had burnt eyebrows, I had eyelashes fused together that just crumpled away when I touched them. My entire like facial hair and like nostrils were all messed up. So yeah, and I was closer to danger way more times than that. It was just like, that was the only time where I was like, oh fuck, I'm like, oh, this is like it.
I'm getting really mad, guys.
You want some help?
No,
scared.
but
It's gonna help you.
okay, guys, just keep talking.
Can you please like not rock?
Okay,
let's
go in front of
me.
Hey guys, I'm on fire! Someone jumping on me! Dad! have to talk who I'm nominating.
And I don't know, like, I don't think my life didn't really flash before my eyes, but I was only like 14. So I feel like my life might flash before my eyes if I do that now. But like I wouldn't do that now, because that's like I'd have to be on fire and shit. Like, but yeah. So that's my part with that. I don't remember what else I put in that section. I think that plane. I don't know. I just wanted to mess around with editing. I had footage of these like really cool looking planes and like Blue Angels that visited town, and then I was just like following them, and then in editing I screened out the sky so it's just like black, and then I tracked like I didn't track it, just like moved the camera with the plane so it's like brrr, instead of it's like, you know. And then that's when there was, oh yeah, and then I had footage in there. So all this like weird ass footage, a lot of it was from that movie I was talking about that I tried to shoot when I was 14, which is really cool because I got to use it now. Since I've never been a writer, I've never been able to write, we never had any scripts or anything. I would just say the general idea, and then I'll do like the cinematography and editing, even though I was like acting in front of the camera too. I don't know, it was so awesome. But a lot of those scenes like are just concepts too. So like there's that one scene where we couldn't get any actors, and any kids were like really annoying that weren't us, that wanted to join. Not all of them, but like a lot of the time. So I actually ran down the stairs, ran back up the stairs, changed my clothes, and ran back down the stairs again to pretend to kill the first me. And like all of these people have really long ass fucking backstories, and they're really crazy. So the guy that got killed was Slau Chao Mao Pao. He's someone who got deported from China because he used to own a store that was like competing with like Samsung or something. So they took him out, and then like Subway. In my world is like this giant is like the evil like conglomerate people, and then they deported me out of the country along with the other guy with me because he was going to be the world's best soccer player, but Messi, who is sponsored by Subway in this world, like Subway wanted to get rid of this guy, so they deported them to America, and they have to live underneath the Subway, and then the Subway owner abuses them all the time, and then makes them pay twice the rent because the Russians on the third floor beat up the Subway owners. So the Subway owners don't charge the Russians rent, they double charge the rent to Slau Chao Mao Pao and Bosnian, who are in the basement. Even though they used to be competitors with Samsung and Lionel Messi, now they're in that basement. Anyway, it's fucking weird. I don't know, like, I love that. I love making shit like that, but that was the thing, is like, it's all for the fun. But I got to bring back the scenes. I made this sick-ass transition because in the album, this is how next level they were. All the songs have smooth, seamless transitions except for this, because you had to literally flip the record. And this is what's amazing. It's like the best album like fucking ever. And I just completely forgot, like, oh yeah, they still had to use like records, and they still had to think about the flip. But that's when it flips from, like real stuff, basically what the first website said, to concepts. So money is starting to just be like a general concept. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, that's so fucking huge. Like, money is such a huge thing since the dawn of time. Like, I mean, it's like, it's so human to be like, oh, I want, like, just, like, greed. And it's like, but money, like, I can safely say that money, at least to me, it was not, I mean, it's like, that's the thing. It's like, there's so many parts to it, but the idea of money, the idea of I would be happy if I had this much more, that is bullshit. Like, I think money you know, like, you fucking need it to, like, eat and stuff, so, like, obviously, like, it's important, but, that's the thing, it's like, I remember being 16 years old, it was my 16th birthday at my brother's house drinking Jack Daniels. That was, like, I've only been drunk a couple handfuls of times, something like that, and that was one of them, and that was, like, I was like, man, I'm gonna start this business, I'm gonna make so much money, and I'm gonna be like, But, like, the hustle on the way up was so insane. It was, like, such a great high. And, like, what I was talking about before I flew to New York and arranged all that stuff, I didn't get paid for any of that. You know, like the money for the gig was basically, like, just for the camera. And then, like, all of the rest was fun. And that was, like, top of the fucking world feeling. But, yeah, and then, like, I did all that hustling, and then I got to the point where it's like I could get money, and I was like, oh. So, you know, I think I want to get back into freelance, but I don't want to work at, like, when there's, like, accountants and shit that, oh my god, like, but it's, yeah, I mean, what more can I say, you know, money, but I might get back to some of the editing on this, because I think the editing is dope as fuck on this one. And also, all the money used in this scene, that was the money used to buy this camera. Like, literally all of it, into that. So that's pretty cool. And then the next is us and them. You know, I still don't even know this camera. Like, it just, like, stops the recording on me, but I don't even know what the fucking limit is, but yeah, so, us and them, about the black and white mentality, and, you know, a really, really good example of that is war. You know, war isn't exactly a new thing, it's kind of, you know, like, the most human fucking thing ever, like, I'm a, like, fuck you, I'm a beat you up, I'm gonna take your shit, and they're like, no, I'm gonna take your shit, but, you know, that's the thing, I don't want to get too dark, so that's why I shot with some toy cars, but, I was just out, and, you know, this thing had I had $0 budget, and I had to make it within a week, so I was like, you know, what would be awesome for war scenes is, like, toy soldiers and stuff. Ended up not finding any toy soldiers, but I had some toy cars I've been playing with since I was, like, 5 years old, and those were, you know, handed down to me from my brother another 6 years even before that, so that's pretty crazy. But, I don't know, like, the cars blowing up, that's just, like, war. That it's so, like, I could have it specific to stuff, but war is, it's war, it's always, you know, and it's fucked up, and I liked having the scenes. My dad did a cameo with his hands. He said he always wanted to do a cameo. I thought that was pretty cool, but when he was, when he was, like, moving that's representing, actually, in the song, the part where he goes, dun 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 dun, he's actually saying, forward he cried, from the rear and the front rank died. I can't sing. And the general is sat as the lines on the map moved from side to side. Okay, I don't know. The thing about Pink Floyd is it's, like, really hard to sing because it's, like, the lyrics, it's, like, it's the way you... Anyways, forward he cried from the rear, and as the front rank died, and the general is sat as the lines on the map move from side to side. So it's, like, this guy... It's about this guy, you know, he, like, joins the army because he's like, I'm gonna save my country, I'm gonna help it, I'm gonna be a hero, and he gets out there, and then, you know, they're fucking blowing up, like, nobody should see that. Like, just seeing a bunch of, like, the people he's bonded with over the times, the only people that really understand the situation that he's in, just fucking blowing up to smithereens. And then it cuts to the general, and he's just, like, sitting in, like, an air-conditioned room. He's just, like, hanging out, and to him, it's just, like, a map, and, like, a couple dots move. But, like, to the guy that joined, it's, like, fucking... That's crazy. And, you know, 45 years ago, so it's not like anything's changed, but that's just one part of it. Us and them, you know, it's just about the black and white mentality in general. It's so bad. It's like, so many people like to look at something and say, oh, alright, and then draw one conclusion and fucking never change their mind about that single conclusion for the rest of their lives, and that is not cool. But yeah. Next song is Any Color You Like. You know, I didn't get this from listening to it. In fact, Time and Money are the only songs out of these that, like, while listening to them for fun, I was like, oh wow, and like I understood the whole thing. The rest I had to Google, so it's not like... So, Any Color You Like is a facetious look at our illusion of choice. So like a sarcastic look at the lack of choices in society, I guess. You know, I didn't get that from just listening to it, but I definitely feel it, especially with how it's placed. You know, Pink Floyd with the song names and stuff, that's not just like random. So the way it's placed, I think it's definitely, yeah, and it's like, you know, that's a thing that can happen if you just have black and white mentality and think everything is just one way, then you might, you know, like, not realize the illusion of choice on a lot of things. But I think this was really cool because color correcting by far is my favorite thing to do when editing shit. And, you know, there's no way I was gonna do that for the whole 40 minutes because that would take longer than, like, the whole thing. So, Any Color You Like was a chance to color correct because I remember... And I was just, like, tired as fuck, and this was, like, the last night. It was, like, 3 a.m. And I was like, fuck, I really want to do some color correcting. And then, and, like, Any Color You Like started, and I was like, ah, shit. So that was really cool. And then I ended it with just that really colorless, lifeless shot of this school, because that is so in tune with the song, I think. But that's pretty intense. That's, like, pretty crazy. And then the next one is Brain Damage. This one's pretty crazy because, you know, as I was editing this, I've listened to these songs thousands and thousands of times in like little sound clips. So it's like I'll trim something and then forward he sat and like a reverse and like so it's like pretty fucking crazy and like Brain Damage is right. You know, making this thing was so... I don't know if you guys have seen The Get Down, but how that guy who's trying to make that piano song, it's kind of crazy because making Dark Side of the Moon kind of felt like that. I think big projects are pretty crazy. That's why I like doing Stone Alone, because it's like, I get the idea, I make it, and it's out of my head and it's good. But it's like, Dark Side of the Moon is every single one of those days. And I uploaded videos on all of those 7 days as I was working on this too. But it's like, that was pretty crazy. But it's about losing your mind and going insane, you know. It's the dark side of the moon, I guess, is a place for destructive ideas and insanity, but the whole moon is a little dark. So they kind of mean like everyone's kind of like a little insane, I think. And it's like, that's kind of like the thing. And then it's, the lunatic is in my head. I guess that's a person losing their mind who would do anything to be sane, and they would isolate themselves to stop destruction. And one thing that popped up on here, I was like, oh shit, it's madness caused by not aligning yourself to others and society. And I didn't even think of it while I was editing this, but I'm like, yeah, this is fucking crazy. Like, Stone Alone's really fun, it's the best thing ever, but it's like, every single day, just like, going against the tide's pretty hard. Like, talking to people, oh, so are you going to college? No. I started my own business. It's like that's a very valid response. And they're like, oh, you're not going to college? I'm like, hey, dude, like, like, please, like, I don't want to talk. And all day long, and then like when people find out high school dropout, they're like, they have that like look. I remember I was in the fucking newspaper on the cover one time, and I went to get myself from it, and some guy walked up and said, hey, that's you. I was like, yeah. And he said, what are you doing outside of school? And I said, well, you know, didn't you read it? Like, I started my business and, like, dropped out of school. And then he gives me this look and he goes, shouldn't have done that. And then he's just like, what the fuck? That's, like, really fucked up. But, yeah, I don't know. It's, like, it's a little crazy. It's really hard to go against that. But, you know, brain damage is about going insane, and from the concepts of the last few songs, you know, Money, Us and Them, Any Color You Like. Dark Side of the Moon is crazy. It's so awesome because there's so much to it, and I wanted to replicate that. You know, not saying that my stuff is profound at all, but it's like, it's not just like one meaning. It's like so much. There's so much into just that one thing, and like every video I make is like that. Like that's why I like making them, you know, it's really fun. But, yeah, and then there's this part in the song where he goes, and if the band you're in starts playing different tunes, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. And that's about, like, you know, literally, like, everyone else is, like, hearing different tunes, and I'm like, oh, shit, I mean, like, I've literally gotten used to it, but since dropping out, it's, like, it's so crazy, and it's like so many levels of that. It's like starting a business, getting some actual experience. Like every time is adding so much to it, and like tripping and everything. It's like I don't feel like I'm even on the same fucking place as everybody else, because it's like people, like I'll be standing next to someone and the most amazing thing would happen, and they're like, oh, fuck. I'm like, what? And they're like, fucking didn't give me as many chicken nuggets as I asked for. And I'm like, but no, yeah, this is, yeah. And then, I thought that clip was very fitting during the peak of the song right there. That was a clip that I shot. I went to Iowa, and I was like, I didn't have anything to do with, like, I didn't use any of that footage. And that just, like, that's how much I love this. I have footage from since I was 14 in there, since I was 14 years old in there, because even if I didn't use it, I was always trying to practice my cinematography. So instead of sleeping that night after, like, the 11-hour drive, I just went out and got that shot because I knew it looked dope as fuck because of the lighting, and I finally got to use it. And, like, all of the shots in this whole thing were like that, basically. And the last thing in here is Eclipse. They use the word all 20 times and the word you 18 times. And this song is about every human on Earth. And, I mean, yeah, it's like everything. It's like the wrap up, basically. And this is insane because, I mean, while I went to New York, this was like my soundtrack. I would listen to J. Cole and this. Because oh my god, I remember what happened. I got Tidal, for Life of Pablo, I think. Wait, yeah. I got Tidal for Life of Pablo, and I downloaded a bunch of stuff, but Tidal was so shitty that, like, it didn't even play the full album. I downloaded the full album in, like, ultra quality and only played a few songs, but Eclipse was one of them. So I'd be sitting on the plane, listening to just, like, a few songs of Pink Floyd and, like, a J. Cole album on the plane over and over again. But that was pretty intense because, you know, editing this, it's like, that's what I was listening to. If I pull up the raw footage from some of these clips, you can fucking hear it. It's like, it's awesome. But, that's crazy because my memories literally were how that video is. Like, if you watch it, that's like, when I listen to the album, that's like what I see. And that's like crazy because in a lot of those New York memories, that's what I was listening to at the time. And that's so trippy. And that's why I chose Dark Side of the Moon, because only a few. There's, it's not every album that's legendary enough to have that kind of impact. So I try to really, really like invest in my entertainment and my music, because it's like if I listen to it in 5 different states, then when I listen to it, I feel that, and it's like extra. So Dark Side of the Moon is one that I've been through it on. I've listened to it on fucking Molly, because oh my god, right after I finished editing, literally I finished editing, hit export, slept for 1 hour or something, got up, did Molly with a friend, and then listened to Dark Side of the Moon. So that's how much this album is. Like, I've heard it on Molly, like right after editing the whole thing. I've edited an entire 40-minute thing to it. It's like, I heard it the first time I went outside high. I've heard it while I went to New York and the plane rides. And I heard it right when I found out I could get the A7S, and I pictured that whole thing. And that's what set off the chain of events that let me do all of that cool shit that week. And yeah, so quite a lot here. There's a lot of editing stuff to it too. I don't know if you guys care that much. If you guys want to, I can share that. There's like so much to it, but I think I'm gonna end this video here. Hopefully you guys liked it. Tell me if you guys like behind the scenes, because it's like it's not the kind of thing that I do very often. So I would like to know that if you guys like this. But yeah, thanks for watching.